Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to TRS Live with your hosts Brian Keller, Matt Schrotz, and Zach Hoffman, presented by The Real Shot.
I'ma do this here forever. EQ. Forever. Triune. Forever. Yeah. Forever. I'ma do this here forever. All you haters better get comfy. This the day you've been waiting on. Your road is finna get bumpy. This the track I'm making my statement on. I ain't going nowhere. This the place that I'm making home. I'll do this shit forever. Hit the gas and I'm taking off. Ow. I was born with passion. My job is never ending and my hustle's everlasting. No matter what, I'm gon' ball, even with my back to the wall. And the best part is that this is the beginning. I'ma do this here forever. Forever.
What's up with everybody today?
Good afternoon.
I bet you
it is afternoon officially.
I bet you people thought we forgot about TRS Live.
We almost did. We're so used to getting in this chair and talking head-to-head fishing that.
I know, right?
Was that a thing?
That was a thing. It actually happened. It feels like it was like months ago now.
It does.
But it actually happened. It was actually pretty badass.
Well, let's keep the professionalism going. Hey,
No,
what's going on, everybody?
Come on, Russell.
I'm Matt. This is Brian. There's Zach. It's just now it's like second nature.
I don't want to be professional.
Come on.
It's too much work.
Well, like typical TRS live fashion, just a slight delay in getting everything back. We were waiting for the anglers to cue in their cameras.
I think the camera system was like, no, we got to do this again. I don't want to do this
Listen,
anymore.
cameras, it's not 24 hours straight this time.
Right. It's just
That's what we call a marathon in the
Yeah, I don't want to ever do that again.
How's everybody doing today? Comment, let us know how your day is going, how your weekend was going. We're going to kind of recap here. It's been a while. Been a hot minute, as we discussed.
What has it been, like 3 weeks since we did one of these?
Yeah, we could go back on the episodes and see.
I bet you it's been pushing 3 weeks.
Well, the last one was...
maybe 4 weeks. I bet you it might be 4 weeks.
What was episode 50? It was talking head-to-head. No, it was sponsorship one, was it? Yeah.
I bet you it's 4 weeks ago.
People like that one.
Because it was easily 2. I mean, yeah, I bet you it's pushing 4 weeks.
4 weeks ago since we did a TRS Live.
That is breaking all of the rules
Hey, Larry,
about
what's going on?
Consistency is what that is.
Brandon Meyer, what's going on? So what we got going on here is, first and foremost, since we got a little late start, we want to catch everybody up with what's going on in the store. Again, a lot of cool things going on social media-wise. But the second portion of the show, we're going to be joined by Daryl, the final WiscoBass winner of the year, the Invitational winner. That was over there on lacrosse. So we'll find out from Daryl what tactics he employed and all that kind of stuff. Brian, you were there. I mean, we'll kind of talk about that.
The conditions were terrible.
It was typical Wisco Sunday conditions.
Terrible, man. They had the worst weather ever in every event this entire year. It was unbelievable.
And the other things going on right now, we are full-fledged in the archery season.
Yep.
And there's waterfall season and all that kind of stuff going on.
Gun counter's been busy.
Gun counter's been busy.
Lots of new used stuff coming in. Sure.
Yes. And since we got that, we're on that topic. I've re-caught up our social media, our Facebook and Instagram pages with firearms, the used ones that have been sold, and there are some that are on there that are discounted pricing. And then I've just kind of reshared a lot of those other ones so people are aware of what's out there. Steve said as soon as we started doing that, unfortunately, we took a little break from our social media to push head-to-head, which is, when you're short on staff at times, that's kind of what happens.
Something's got to give.
Yep, but we're back at it full-fledged now. Zach's been busy editing some awesome stuff for head-to-head, but other cool things that are going on in the store right now, bow sales, there's crossbow sales, still rebates, still discounting of certain bows to kind of clear out. 2020 inventory is coming fast.
It is.
We're getting notifications.
When do those new bow packages come in like December?
Oh, boy.
November,
I saw
maybe?
one for Matthews, an email come in the middle of November.
Yeah.
We should have our new bows for some of the new bows for
That's
Matthews
crazy.
already. We do in store. I'm doing a post, working on one as I get back to my desk for Bowtech. We have the new Target bows in stock already. The Reckon 38, and I can't remember what the other ones, but there's another one downstairs. 2 Target bows.
All this bass fishing's corrupting you.
Yeah, I know. I chose to fish this weekend instead.
Right? Well, that's because you shot your buck.
I shot my
already.
buck. I did
So
tag out.
Let's just call a spade a spade.
Spade a spade.
You
One night,
shot your one already.
sat in a stand, shot a buck.
I think I was telling Justin this, Zach. I think head-to-head was the best thing that ever happened to him for bow hunting. Because it kept you out of the woods and you weren't sticking it up.
No, as I've gotten matured, since the beard here says there's a lot of gray in it, I've learned to be a little less intrusive.
It does make a difference, though.
It does.
I'm just joking on the head-to-head.
I know.
But it did give you a reason to maybe not hunt those crappy weekends.
Yep.
Because you were working.
Maturity makes a difference in a lot of different ways. But,
that could be argued if you're mature yet or not.
Yeah. It's very true.
Could be argued.
I got lucky and I did shoot a nice 8-pointer, so I am officially tagged out for the archery season. I wish. Here's my question for the Wisconsin DNR. You get 2 buck tags. Why can't I shoot the second one with my bow?
Totally agree.
You can use it during the gun season anyways.
Totally agree.
What does it matter?
Stupid.
Somebody riddled me this question. Yeah, Tony says the same thing. Time to transition. Sat for the first time last night.
I haven't even pulled my bow back yet this year.
Yeah, it's got a brand new
so
verdict
terrible.
all set up with
That's
a Garmin and everything.
I just haven't had time to even think about it.
So since we are in October, we're kind of transitioning out of the lull into the pre-rut. One thing I want to catch on real quick is the pumpkin carving contest that we put together last week. So I do have the rules here in front of me on that. That's pretty simple. I got that posted to our Instagram and social media. There's the rules right there. Is that it? I can't remember. That's the output screen. So it is right to left. His is right to left.
I know. We had it back. That's okay.
So you can see the rules right there. The biggest thing about it is try to keep the pictures clean. We want to see the TRS logo in there, the Real Shot logo, I should say. And then make sure when you do post it, you use the hashtag TRS19carve. Real original. I thought of that one all by my lonesome.
Good
job. So that's what's going on. We talked about the firearms, ice fishing. That place looks awesome.
Yep.
Justin and Nick and the guys.
Got a lot of the shacks out already.
We got augers. There's rods in stock. There's suits in stock. For those who are looking for an ice suit this year, we carry 3 different brands of ice suits in here this year. We'll have Clam, we'll have Strike Master, and we'll have Striker. So if you can't find an ice suit, again, like it just seems like a common theme with us lately. If you can't find it here, you're definitely not looking hard enough.
Agreed.
I mean,
that's kind of the plan, right?
Yeah, it is the plan. That's with the range reduction, the more product available and everything like that. That's why it's happening.
It's awesome
that way.
looking at all the shacks laid out.
Yeah.
They're all there. So
and we had a great idea. We're going to call that section like the shack or the ice shack or something like that. So it's pretty cool. So where can I go find it? You can go find it in the shack, down by the shacks.
Oh boy, here we go.
Yeah. So, awesome. Anyways, Brian, how you been?
I've been catching up on sleep.
Yeah, so
that's been good. Oh, it was a grind. We made it through it, and I think
Were you referring to head-to-head fishing?
Yeah. I mean, the aftermath of that, I don't know if any of us really knew what to expect, right? I mean, Zach's full-fledged making marketing materials now. We've got well over 100 applicants for next year already for the.
Are more still coming in?
Yeah, it's just been crazy.
So don't forget, that's on the head-to-head Facebook page. You can go over
Mom.
there and get your application filled out for 2020. So go ahead and do that. But yeah, so.
Morning, Brad.
We're working hard on the 2020 season.
Yep, 2020 season. We're working on scheduling of that. I'm just going to kind of keep that under wraps for now, but there should be a lot more opportunity for guys that want to get in it this year that watched it and were like, wow, that was pretty cool. We want to do that. So definitely, if head over to the Real Shots website, realshot.com. The application's on there.
Yep.
Fill that out. We are going to be taking the people from that application process first.
Yep.
To fill it.
Yep. And again, we're still looking to expand our cameramen as well. So we had some awesome cameramen that helped us out, but there's always room for that as well. So if you're an up and coming videographer, photographer, any kind of thing, or just want to kind of learn the trade a little bit, Zach would be happy to take you under your wing. The guys again that we had, the 5 guys, were phenomenal.
Absolutely.
Couldn't ask for a better group of guys. I mean, the conditions were absolutely horrible. So, talk about trial by fire.
I think that was just a testament to that format as a whole and how bad the conditions were. And the anglers loved it. The camera guys loved it. And the viewers all seemed to like it. And the fishing was terrible. Like, it was the worst fishing ever.
Oh.
Weather was terrible. The fishing sucked. And nobody seemed to care. And, And even had us here in the studio kind of sitting on the edge of our seats waiting for the next bite. And
Yeah.
I think that was kind of a part of it all.
And there was obviously plenty of people that joined us for almost the whole entire 2 weekends.
Oh, yeah, it was crazy.
There was, we appreciate all the comments that we got, all the people that were interactive with us, and that's what we're hoping to build more into the head-to-head season for 2020 is more of that kind of stuff. So, again, head over to the Real Shot page or the head-to-head Facebook page and fill out the application.
Yep.
Get yourself into running for next
year. If you
year.
go to realshot.com, it's right on the top right corner. It says the application link's right there.
There it is. It's right there. Plus, there's a lot of cool stuff on the website right now, like we talked about ice fishing. We got a apparel sale going on right now. There's tons of sales, as always, going on here at the Real Shot. Plus, Zach, we do what with anybody's pricing?
I think we match it.
Yeah. Nice. Well, and the other thing that, since we just talked about the website, we're in the process of making a new one for...
Yes. Yeah, the whole entire website is being revamped right now as we speak.
We're hopefully
looking first part of January, we're
Yep,
hoping.
in
But
the
yeah,
new
the
year.
whole thing's totally brand new. We are going to completely change the way you shop for your outdoor gear.
Yep.
From top to bottom, we're going to completely revamp the way you shop for outdoor gear.
It's so clean. It looks so nice.
Yeah.
Played around with it.
And there is nothing like it in the outdoor space that shops like this. Nothing. Not even close.
Well, the cool thing is because we took into consideration what other people are doing and decided, well, so-and-so's doing this, but this sucks.
Right.
And so-and-so's doing this, but this part sucks. And we just kind of took the culmination of all those better things and put them into one.
Right.
Yep.
So I think this is going to be a game changer for our customers for sure.
And
Yes.
it's going to take a little bit. People are going to get to it and they're going to be like, what is going on? And then the second they play with it a little bit, they'll be like, wow, this is so much easier. There's so much stuff I didn't even know existed. And I think that's really going to be the big thing, is opening people's eyes to Tony said he can't hear you.
Oh, I can't hear Zach. Good morning, Brad Fuller's on here. What's up, Brad? Kevin Yeska. A lot of
But
great
it's just
people.
going to completely change the way you look at buying outdoor gear. It's going to.
Yeah, it's going to make it a lot easier. And plus, with all the customs that we carry, that's one thing
Right.
that we definitely thought about with the
Yep,
new
big
website
time.
is how can you make the customs easy to shop?
Correct. Well,
And
just find it. I mean,
Find it.
naming things is almost impossible when you come up with 70 different color combinations and stuff. And
Right.
who knows what's named, and this is going to allow you to track that down a lot faster.
Well, and we're still looking to expand, into maybe more bass custom type stuff. We have a great selection of Great Lakes and walleye, but kind of one of the things we're working with Brad's back
from Ohio. Thumbs down.
Yeah, that's a bummer.
How
But
did
I
the
mean,
hunt go?
speaking of Brad Fuller, we're working with him from Omega for some TRS exclusives and stuff like that. I mean,
Yeah, he's been awesome to deal with.
so, yeah, just a whirlwind since we got out of the head-to-head studio and kind of moving forward, trudging onwards. Can you not figure out how to turn your mic on?
No, I was just going to wait for a second to be able to talk and see if you guys can hear me, because I'm showing that I can hear myself. You guys can hear me, right?
I can hear you.
I hear
fine.
you.
Could
sound
you hear
great.
me before?
Yeah, the whole time.
That's weird.
Tony, can you hear Zach now? So we, since we got a little late start here, we want to join in with Daryl, who the winner is of WiscoBass
Yep, the
Invitational. Zach, you let us know when we're getting closer. Is he kind of getting ready? We're Skyping in with him. He's not able to join us.
He's going to be ready whenever I tell him to.
Okay,
So I just want to
awesome.
let you guys
well, then
talk.
we'll kind of continue to catch up on some other stuff.
They can hear you now.
Okay, cool.
Now you're good.
That was
In other
weird.
news,
Football.
yeah, Aaron Rodgers had a perfect passer rating.
So
Perfect.
I was listening to the game
Perfect.
a little bit yesterday.
I didn't even watch it. It was perfect.
How do you get 158.3?
Yeah, I don't. If
Why
anybody
isn't it
knows
one-
how that's calculated, I would love to know.
Why is that not even?
How do you come up with
160?
158.3 being the perfect passer rating? That's the number.
That's weird.
Yeah.
That's the number.
Six touchdowns, 5 passing, 1 rushing.
Yep. And it was the first perfect passer rating, I believe, in a game in Packer history.
Really?
I believe that's the
Yeah, but
case.
how long has the passer rating been going on?
I don't know, but I'm just, who cares? It's
I
perfect.
get you.
I mean, right? Perfect. Like,
ya.
how many things are actually perfect?
Well,
I mean, I watched it up until halftime, and that was an impressive game. Like, that was...
I wasn't able to watch the game, but it was. I saw the stats. I mean, you can't play any better
Right.
than that. That's crazy.
Right.
That last, it was hilarious because I looked at my wife and I'm like, they got what? It was like 20 seconds on the clock.
yeah.
And I look at her,
Just
I'm
a
like,
simple
I looked at her, I'm
crossing
like,
route.
if they get this extra point, because I didn't think they were going for anything more than an extra point. If I get this, I'm getting a Switch for my birthday, a Nintendo Switch. And I literally look up and boom, there's a touchdown. And I just look at her, I'm like, so is that happening?
Nice.
And
A
yeah, I was like,
Nintendo Switch?
Yeah. Regressing, Matt. I'm regressing.
I don't even know what it is. It
He
sounds
wants to play all
awesome.
those cartoony looking games that Nintendo has.
Oh.
I'm trying to get I play video games a little bit. My wife will not play anything with me besides old school stuff. And I'm like,
there
you
you
know
go.
what? Old school.
Well, it's because the new
school.
stuff's really challenging, and if you
Yeah.
don't play it a lot, it's hard to just pick it up and play like
Definitely.
Mario Kart or
Right.
One of
So that's
those
why
deals.
I was like, we can spend
I'm
time
a gamer,
together
man.
at
I
home.
totally get it. I'm the biggest tech geek there is. I just like to hunt and fish.
Yeah,
Right.
that's exactly it. You can do both.
You can definitely do
There's
both.
not many of me around, though. I'm a unique deal. The other thing that we've got to figure out how we're going to keep track of, we need to have the Matt Trotz mullet tracker.
It's happening. I mean,
Because this was talked about in head-to-head.
first weekend, wasn't it?
Yeah, the first Matt was
Well,
going to
Kyle
go.
came
He was
here.
going to go to a mullet, and he says he's serious. He's going to do it.
Well, like you can see here, my wife's been on me since head-to-head to be like, when are we cutting your hair? And I'm like,
Nope.
can't.
Just
he
the
says
sides,
he
man.
just said he's full committed.
I
Just
can't.
the sides. You can only cut the
Like, I
sides.
don't want to
You got to
take it
cut
away
the
from.
top, right? You got to keep it a little bit. You know.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah, you gotta. It's party, or
You gotta-
business in the front, party in the
I'd
back.
say go a little, like an inch more, but then you got to start like styling it
I know.
backwards.
Here's
and then
here's my
let the
question
hair
about it
grow.
though: is can I shave my neck hairs or do I
don't
need the
know
curl on
I don't
that?
know what is mullet etiquette.
I don't know.
Oh man, that's a good
I
question.
don't know what mullet etiquette is.
If Kyle's not working right now, I gotta try to fix my hair.
I don't know what proper mullet etiquette.
Yeah, I need
I
to
would think
know.
you could. Why not? I mean, it's.
Well, I know it's got
got
to grow long in the back, right?
Yeah,
does
but you
it
can
start
cut the.
from
It's almost like doing an undercut. You know,
Right.
you just cut
True.
up to your neck, but then let this get long.
True.
I think
so,
you'd be okay.
Fun fact about that is Molly went to school for hair styling and hair cutting. I can't remember what that term is.
Cosmetology.
That's it. Is it that?
Yeah.
Okay.
Cosmetology.
So she said in her lifetime she's only cut one mullet. So she's
Time
gonna
for
get
number
the
2.
time for
I
number
don't
2.
see. I would have thought she knew you better than to give you the green light, thinking you actually weren't going to do it. There's no way she didn't know that.
Yeah, I don't.
I mean, I haven't
I don't
known you
know
that
who
long,
the
and I
bigger
knew
fool
that was,
is,
I knew
her
that
or
was
me.
gonna happen.
Yeah.
Now you're gonna let this grow out as long as this?
Well,
You
that's
can
the
just
other
go
thing.
full-
See, now this is all I can grow. I can't grow a beard like Zach. I can't grow a beautiful.
Yeah, but you're
luscious-
just gonna let this like all wizard grow tea?
I don't know yet. I mean, I think
Because you
when
have the
get-
white, it would start turning white.
I
If you
think-
have that
I
whole
think
wizard.
I think you got to you just got to let the mustache drop and then
And do the-
poosh,
yeah.
just,
He
just
could be
cut
the
this
mullet
right out.
wizard guy. You get like
We'll
a
see.
wizard.
You got to have a mullet and a stash.
facial hair, I get kind of picky over after a while, but it's bull hunting season. So, like for everybody else that has no shave November, I got to start it in like end of September, early October. So we're in no shave next 3 months to see how well it pans out. But
I still don't think he's gonna follow through with the mullet.
well, yeah, but if we're going off of Kyle's mullet, who this is,
Yeah, but that's really long compared to where you're at now.
yeah, but his is
It's
mostly
gonna take some time,
His
man.
is well, let's.
I just don't think he's gonna do it. I think it's gonna freak him out one day. He's gonna come in and
Nah.
all be shaved off.
Like I said, you can
I mean,
speed up the process.
I love
by
what you
cutting
guys
the
are doing
sides.
right now. You're trying to peer pressure me into continuing
What is
growing
the
it.
over/under on Matt actually growing out his mullet?
Guys,
Plus or minus
I ain't
what?
scared.
3 months?
I ain't
Do,
scared.
do we put money on this? We all get a pool together?
Do I get the money at the end of it?
I think we give it to Molly for putting up with you.
All right. She should get money anyways for dealing with me.
All right, let's go ahead and get Daryl.
Let's Skype in Daryl. So remember, this is Daryl. He is the winner of the Invitational for WiscoBass, the final one for the 2019 season.
And I'm sure he's going to talk about it. Weather conditions were terrible, like they were for every Wisco all year, which is maybe fitting for the whole series to just have. I mean, I was talking to Kyle, one of the founders of Wisco, at the event, and he goes, dude, next year we should have bright, sunny skies, nice weather every day. We paid our dues for like 10 years this year.
Right. Well, and if you're interested in getting to be a part of head-to-head, theirs is live on their website, too, all the sign-ups for next
Tony,
year.
and I think November 1st, head-to-heads, not head-to-heads, sorry. I think November 1st is the official entry day for Wisco. They're opening up,
when
they're
it
opening
starts.
up sign-ups on November 1.
Perfect. Thank you.
All
I know
right.
the lakes are released as well.
Okay. I've
Tony
got you
said
here,
your
Daryl.
mullet's
Can
never
you hear
going to
me?
happen.
My mullet?
Yeah, he said no way.
Come on.
Said no way?
Mustache, no stash. Nice. Brad's a cool dude. Thanks. That's a great connection from Tony Malika with Omega
Oh.
Tackle. So we're waiting here. We're trying to connect with Daryl. He's also a pretty big hunter. You were talking to him down there.
A little
in
bit, yeah.
lacrosse.
We were talking some shop when he was down hunting. It's an important shop when you're taking time off from hunting.
I still am kind of disappointed that nobody commented why the DNR won't let me shoot my buck tag.
Because
with a
they
gun
all
light.
don't want to be held accountable for your
That's true.
bad decision
How come
making.
none of the DNR are commenting?
You're right though, because the DNR doesn't watch the show. You're right though. I mean, it doesn't make any sense at all why you can't get 2 tags and just use them.
Right.
If you shoot your 2 bucks in the first week of September or
What's
the
the
first week of the or the bow season, who cares?
Right. What's the difference?
You're done. So what? Move on with life.
Yeah.
And isn't that how they run like the Horicon for goose? They give you X amount of tags. When you fill them, you're done.
I don't know.
At least it used to be. I haven't goose hunted in a long time, but it used to be that they give you X amount of tags, like 7.
There we go.
And you can
There's
shoot
Daryl.
7, you know.
Hey, how you guys doing?
All right, we'll
Good,
get 'em up
buddy.
here in
How
a
are you?
second. We got him on here, though.
Excellent.
Just hold on, Daryl. We don't have you live yet.
Yep. Anyways, Daryl's getting ready to. Yeah, but I agree. I don't. It bothers me.
It just doesn't make any sense.
Right.
It actually is counterproductive. If the DNR wants deer numbers to go down, they should want you to shoot them whenever you're capable of shooting them.
Yep.
Right? It's that simple.
And I think I shared it to the Real Shot page, but this is the first year in a long time that there are no doe restrictions in certain areas, meaning
that's what
all
you
the
said.
counties have doe tags available,
correct.
even the ones up north.
All
I agree
right.
with Matt. I want that changed. Not that I get a buck, but it would be nice. Yeah, I agree. I mean,
All right, we got Daryl up.
Yep.
How's it going, Daryl?
Pretty good. How you guys doing?
Good, man. Good. So, winner of the 2019 Invitational. How does that feel?
It feels really good. The quality of fishermen that fished the Wisco this year was simply amazing. I was not expecting the amount of competition that showed up and the quality of the anglers. I learned a lot fishing the lakes, which were all lakes that I don't normally fish. I had a lot of fun learning from the guys, and we got to the river, and like I told them in the interview at the end, when you put a river guy in the river, this is what you get.
right.
Now, let's talk about that for a minute. What do you think is the biggest difference? Is it just understanding current, or what do you think the biggest difference? Because I hear a lot of guys talk about river guys, lake guys. You know, to you, what does that mean?
Well, on a lake, when you tend to find fish on a lake, they tend to stay where you found them. The river fish move for various reasons. Like we were there in extremely high water. I went up there on Thursday and I found them in one area. I went back on Saturday. The water had changed levels again, so they had pulled out of the area I had found them. I re-found them on Saturday, and then on Sunday when I went down to where I had found them on Saturday, they had moved again. Not as big of a move. Saturday, Thursday to Saturday, they changed patterns completely, and Saturday they moved about 80 feet from where they were on where I caught them on Sunday.
Wow. How much did the water level change? Did it go up or down?
It came down by about 10 inches,
Okay.
Which is enough to move the fish because it changes the way the current flows, and it changes the clarity of the water.
Right. Well, and 10 inches is a lot. I mean, that fish could have been, who knows where, 10 inches of water. I mean,
Right.
That's a lot of water. What were you going? What was your target, or how were you fishing for these fish? What would you do to catch them?
I was fishing slack water current breaks, and I was fishing them fast on a chatterbait, trying to cover a lot of water quickly. The areas were small, and I basically rotated between 6 areas. So I would go catch every fish in this area, then move to the next area, and then rotate back to the first area.
Okay. Now, if I remember right, weren't you and a couple of the other top boats kind of in vicinity of each other, or at least you could see each other?
Third place, Luke Lavina, who I've been traveling with and fishing with all year, a great friend of mine. We've been friends for many years. He came down and fished in the same area as I was in. That's where he got a bunch of his upgrades. And he started out in the exact same area as Greg Klug up on 7. They both started in the same area. So first, second, and third basically came out of the same 2 general areas.
Wow. How big of an area was that? Are you talking 100 yards or 80 yards, or how big of an area was it?
Well, I was making between my first and second area was probably about a quarter of a mile, and my third area was about 1.5 miles away from that. And then I was about 2 miles from my fourth area. And then my final area was about 8.5 miles from where I started.
Oh, wow. Okay, so you were covering quite a bit of water then.
Yeah, we were giving the old boat a workout.
Now, you said you're throwing chatterbaits. Did anything else work? Topwater? I heard some guys are still getting them on frogs even before the event.
Yeah, there were some guys on frogs. Everything I caught, I started out on crankbaits is what I caught them on Thursday. And then we figured out pretty quickly on Saturday that the weather temperature changed and everything, and they had went more to a chatterbait. And everything I caught was on 2 different chatterbaits. What I was doing was I had one chatterbait of one manufacturer and a chatterbait from another manufacturer. And I would fish the first manufacturer until they quit hitting that. And then I'd switch over to the other manufacturer in the same area. and just the change in vibration was enough to re-trigger the fish.
Was it same colors or different colors?
Same colors. They were both white and chartreuse. And then I was running the same trailer, which was a Little Dipper, the same color Little Dipper trailer. It was just a change in vibration that was doing it.
Wow, that's interesting.
That's crazy.
There's so many little details that go into fishing that people overlook. I mean, just the difference in vibration. Now, was the vibration like tighter? Was one little more loose or wobbly, or how would you classify the two?
One had a bigger blade, and I had a little bit different. We tune all our chatterbaits on the river to fight current. So I had 7 chatterbaits on the boat, all of the same 2 manufacturers, and some where the blades were bent to run up current if you were throwing to the left. Some were bent to run up current if you were throwing to the right. Some were bent to run a little deeper, and some were bent to run right tight to the surface.
Man, that's crazy. That's kind of stuff that I never would have thought about doing.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
That's the river. The river fish are different. Sometimes they'll bite right towards the surface, and they won't touch anything that's down towards the bottom. And sometimes if you're depending on the amount of current you're fishing in, they want something that's going to dig down in the bottom and kick some silt up to get their attention. And they were changing periodically through the day the way they wanted it. And then you bend the bill, so when you come out of the slack water and it hits the current, the chatterbait will try to fight up current as you're cranking it instead of just getting swept down in a heavy current.
Now, were you catching mostly largemouth, or were you catching a mixed bag?
I caught a mixed bag. I brought all largemouth to the tank. I got my first limit. I had super early in the morning. I had it by 8:48 in the morning. I made a pretty long run.
Wow.
And then I went to my secondary, got 2 upgrades right away, and then I spent the rest of the day catching the same exact fish over and over again. I was stuck at 2 pounds, 10 ounces. I couldn't get over that fish. And then in my final area with about 20 minutes left to go, I upgraded that 210 to 3.4.
Nice. It's a good upgrade.
That's a typical way a Wisco goes. I mean, some of these guys get on
like
them.
that, yeah.
They get on them early, or it's just right down to the last minute.
Right, for sure.
All year fishing the lakes, which some of the lakes I'd never seen, with the exception of Green Bay, like Madison. I didn't have a big weight, but I didn't have a fish in the boat until 1:30. We had to be back at 2:30, and I literally caught my 5th fish right about 50 feet from the check-in. I stopped at a dock and caught my final keeper 50 feet from the check-in.
Now, Brian and I were chasing you around a little bit on Green Lake, if you remember that, and we were like 30 seconds away from missing a buzzbait fish where it jumped in your boat. Do you remember what I'm talking about?
Yeah, that was on Green Lake. That's when I caught the largemouth that didn't help me at that point. And as I was swinging the largemouth into the boat, a smallmouth jumped right in with him and landed in the well of the boat.
And that was awesome because like we were in that certain bay where there was quite a few guys, and I was doing my best to pan, and I can't remember I think we had a slight like camera issue. Surprise, and just as the camera came up, like I was following your buzzbait, and you're like, you just missed one, jumped in my boat.
Yeah, that was pretty wild. And then there was a big discussion with that smallmouth. I wound up letting it go, but was bigger than the largemouth I caught, which would have helped me by a couple of ounces. But I wound up letting it go because we couldn't make the decision whether or not it jumping in the boat was a legal catch. So rather than taking the chance and put it in the live well, I just let it go.
Yeah, and I highly doubt there's a rule on that because whoever had a fish actually jump in the boat before, I've never had it happen.
Right.
I've had it happen twice this year.
Really?
Just jumped in the boat, yeah.
Like both kind of chasing the topwater lure like that?
No, I had one on a flipping jig, and I was bringing the one to the boat, and I hit my trolling motor. I was on a sandbar, and I hit my trolling motor. I must have spooked it. It landed right in the boat. I didn't even have the one on my jig in the boat yet.
Well, I mean, during head-to-head, Colin Martin almost had a bass jump into the boat, too. That thing jumped out of the water like a dolphin.
Right. So
the fish have been kind of weird and aggressive this year, especially changing water. I think the water level has got them messed up because when I went to pre-fish Big Green, I couldn't throw a buzzbait where I was throwing because it was getting wadded up with the weeds, but we had that big rain a couple of days before, which raised the water level enough for me to, actually catch fish running the buzzbait over top of the weeds like that.
Right.
I'm not a finesse fisherman, so I got to find a way to catch them on 25-pound line or I'm lost.
Well, we watched you try to finesse there once you went underneath the bridge on Green Lake. You were throwing something, and I mean you hooked up with a couple of them, but I think you even said that to us as we were watching you. So
now you fished the whole entire Wisco series this year, correct?
Yes.
Okay, I see you finished 8th in Angler of the Year, so congrats on that. That's a very awesome group of anglers to finish in the top 10s. Got to be something you're pretty proud of.
Oh, very proud of it. Yeah, when I went into the final tournament, I was in 14th, and
oh wow!
I told myself my goal was, irregardless win, lose, or draw, I wanted to push myself into the top 10 in points, just so, like I said, the amazement of the anglers that are in this series this year, and it's only going to get tougher because I know a lot of the anglers that are talking about fishing next year. And I wanted to prove that I belonged. Right. So, that was my goal, was to push myself in top 10 in points.
Are you fishing Wisco again next year?
Yes, I am.
Nice.
Yeah, I've already made the commitment to fish. I'll be entering all 6 in November.
Awesome. What do you think of the changes they made, getting kind of away from this invitational and just paying out Angler of the Year next year?
I said it on Facebook when they first announced it. I'm not a big fan of not having an invitational. The reason I like the invitationals and the reason I fished in the FLW for so many years and the BFLs was the invitational, because that is earned. There, you have to fish your way to be there. You have to show up and fish all the events. You earn the right to fish in that event. And, this would have been a totally different event if it would have been an open event, because you would have probably had 45 or 50 jackpot anglers that would have jumped in just because it was on the river, and that wasn't allowed. So it was slugging out the guys that had put in the work all year, caught the fish all year. It's kind of a, hey, you earned the right to be here. Now it's your time to shine without any local influence.
No, I hear that, but I think from a Wisco standpoint, from a business standpoint, I think that's what they're looking at it is, it's hard to run an event for 20, 25 boats. You know what I mean?
Oh, no, and like I said, I promote and do stuff with local tournaments in my club here. And from a business aspect, I completely understand why they did it. And I completely agree with them. It's not going to change whether or not I fish.
Right.
It's just going to change how I fish. It's going to be going into the final tournament and the final few tournaments, it's going to be about Angler of the Year. You're going to get guys that are going to jump in for 1 tournament, 2 tournaments, but they're not going to be slugging it out for the Angler of the Year. So it's going to be about going for the points for me.
Yep. No, I mean, personally for me, I didn't mind the change. I think it's like you said, Daryl, it's all going to be about points. It's just giving you 6 events to do it. I think it's just a matter of duking it out, and you're not going to be there fighting for the end if you don't fish all of them. I mean, it's impossible to have a shot at the top 10 if you don't fish all of them, and I think that's just maybe a different way to do it. I don't disagree with you as far as having something to fish for as a group where you kind of have to battle out all year to qualify for it, but maybe that'll come again next year. Who knows? Or in 2021.
Yeah, the Wisco is only going to get bigger. The professionalism that is run with it, the media traction that you get through the live events and stuff like that is just, it's something like we've never seen here in Wisconsin. Winning this tournament, I've won other big events, and winning this tournament has been more popularized. I've probably got 100 new Facebook followers on my fishing page, because of the media that goes along with it. My sponsors are, they really love the media that goes along with it. And what I love is the professionalism, the way it's run, the way everything is done professionally. It's done for the angler. And when there is a question, a couple of times I've had a question, and, the answer is not always, hey, yeah, we agree with you. But the answer is, no, we don't agree with you, and this is why. It's not just, we don't agree with you, go away. And I really enjoyed that. Right.
No, I agree with that. Absolutely. I think Brent and Kyle, by far, they run the best circuit. I mean, those guys have been running tournaments for a really long time, and I think that, Wisco is just the culmination of all those years that they've put into these other events, and there's definitely no doubt it's the biggest thing in the state, especially going into next year. I think, with those registrations opening up November 1st, it's gonna be a race to fill those up is how I think is gonna happen.
Well, and also, like I said, I fished on other circuits for a lot of years, and I got a lot of friends that fish in pro circuits. They're getting a lot of traction more than just in the state. Some of the other circuits that run, like down south, I've got a gal that runs the Alabama Bass Circuit down there, and she's been paying attention to what the Wisco is doing.
Oh, wow.
Some of the MLF pros, now that MLF has bought out the FLW, is looking at the traction that the Wisco is getting, and they're talking to their anglers. They've called me 8 or 9 times during the year and asked me if I was going to come back and fish the events this year. And I told them, I said, log on to the live events and you'll see why I'm not fishing with you.
Yep.
And they're paying attention, and I feel that this circuit's just going to get bigger and bigger, and I think the bump you're going to get next year from all the local anglers that I know that are planning on fishing at least 1 or 2 events next year. And it's once you get to that 1 or 2 events and you see how it's run, that's what hooks you. Because I made the commitment to fish this spring because I was not happy with the way things were going where I was. And a friend of mine told me about this series and said, hey, just fish the first one, check it out, see what you think. And, I signed up for the first one, and then it was all over after that. I'm like, yeah, this is where I'm fishing.
Nice. Now, you mentioned the FLW MLF buyout. What are your thoughts on that? Obviously, there's been a million. If people that are watching don't know, the MLF, the Major League Fishing Organization, bought out FLW last week. I think it's been in the works for quite a while, but they finally announced it.
Yep.
Daryl, what are your thoughts as being I can see FLW on your jersey and stuff. You said you fished a number of BFLs. What are your thoughts and feelings around that?
My thoughts and feelings are the same, that the MLF, if they're smart, they're not going to change anything at the lower circuits. The BFL style fishing, the Costas, I know they made some changes to the tour with a 6-day event, which I think is kind of pushing their luck a little bit to get guys to show up to make that kind of a commitment over 6 days, and then changing formats in the middle of the commitment. But if they stay true and they do what they say they're going to do, they did lower the entry fees for the BFLs this year and for the Costas, which was a lot of the reason a lot of guys walked away, because they last year raised the entry fees, but they left the payouts exactly the same, which took them to one of the worst paying tournaments at the ramp, which really hurt a lot of guys that, fish the 1-2 tournaments, aren't looking to go to regionals. If they stay the course, but up here in Wisconsin, I've talked to a few of the guys on the FLW and a few of the tournament directors there. They're watching what Wisco is doing, what head-to-head is doing, what the real shot is doing, basically. And they've all admitted that if they're going to compete, especially up here, they're going to have to step their game up, because there's a big opportunity that gets you the media, that gets you seen. The BFLs, you fish them all year. You don't get seen until you get to the regionals.
Right. And even then, you're only getting seen if you're in the top
top 6.
Right.
So a lot of the guys are like, if they want to promote themselves, they can, do a way better job at promoting themselves here on the Wisco and the head-to-head fishing, which I did watch the first one, which was very interesting, and I put an application in for the second one. We'll see
nice.
if I'm considered.
Well, I'm working on a Wisco event for next year, which you qualified for. You didn't even know it. So what I've been playing around with an idea is just a standalone event just for Wisco. That was going to be the 6 winners of the events and then the top 2 in Engler of the year.
Oh, that would be awesome.
So I think let you guys duke that out a little bit and see what happens. So I still got to work with Brent and Kyle and figure out exactly how we're going to put that together. And I got to work around the Wisco dates, and we got a lot of planning to do. But I think I think there's a really good chance that we have that event in 2020.
Yeah, that would be awesome. I'd be honored to fish it. I've had so much fun fishing this year. It's been relaxing. It's been fun. There's no stress. The big thing was the no co-angler, not running around in the morning looking for my co-angler. I did not get one rod busted this year from somebody stepping on it, which was
Nice.
My best one was I had 12 rods on my deck, and he got all 12 of them.
Yep.
Getting into the boat in the dark. And the other thing is you can relax and fish on this circuit. And I think that's the same thing with the head-to-head, is you can relax and fish. You're not worried about, so many times you see it when you got a co-angler that's fishing a completely separate tournament than what you're fishing. You cast in on something and you're going to catch the smaller, more aggressive fish. And then while you're dealing with that fish, he throws in there and catches the 3 to 5 pounder that you were looking for. And, so you tend to fish a different style. You tend to put yourself way out of position to where you're making great big long bombing casts to get to places. And then you're fighting that fish, especially fishing on a river where you're fishing with current. You're fighting that fish through current, and it's just, being on a long cast, just more opportunities to lose it.
Yeah, I agree. I think having that single series deal, I think that's just the way to go. I mean, bass fishing as a whole is such a singular, like, mono sport that co-angler just, I don't know. I'm not a big fan of it personally, so I think Daryl's kind of explaining reasons why certain guys just don't want to deal with it.
Yeah, and, and like when we go to the river in July next year, like I said, I got a lot of friends of mine that are, we're known as the river rats. And every one of us called me and said, when can I enter this one? When can I get into it? So you're, and the river in July on a 5-fish limit, the great thing about that is, as the lake guys found, a couple of guys really struggled. But as they found, the great thing about it is that whatever style you like fishing, whether it's a power fisherman like I like to do, or, bombing frogs, or fishing through trees, or finesse fishing out in deep water, it's there. And I'm really looking forward to that one next year because I know, some of the talent. I know the Bruggen brothers are both going to commit to fish it. I've already talked to them, and they're two of the best on the river. And then, you can't take guys like Chris Osweigan or Jeff Ritter. These guys are on that river 365 days a year. And you're going to see some pretty impressive weights coming in on that one.
That'll be pretty cool to see.
So are you done fishing for the season now? Are you in hunting mode?
I'm done fishing for the season mainly because I broke the hell out of my boat on the last tournament.
Yeah, I was wondering about that. Can you explain what the pictures were all about on that?
Okay, so we got in and I kind of poked fun at Greg a little bit there. I said, this is how close you were to winning this. I took off in the morning and my boat stalled going over a wing dam, and I figured it was just the water coming over the wing dam did it. And then about a mile and a half later, it stalled completely. It shut right off for about 2 seconds. Then it caught right back up, and it went through my mind. I'm like, okay, I know these fish are a long run, and I know this boat is hurt. This boat has never done this before. And I just made up my mind. I said, I talked to my mechanic, and he said, did you even take your foot out of it? And I said, nope, she's either going to go or come back in pieces. And I made the run down, and it ran fine all day. Brought it home, and I put it away in the garage. Went back the next afternoon to get some stuff out of it. And I noticed a big puddle of oil on the floor of the garage.
Oh.
And I went to take the prop off. I had to beat the prop off with a rubber hammer. And what had happened is my cooling ports that go down to the lower unit and to cool the tuner of the Evinrude, because they recycle their exhaust. That's how they get to their cleaner emissions. So that exhaust is coming out of there 600-800 degrees. Well, the cooling line got plugged up with eelgrass. So I literally melted everything in the lower unit and boiled all the oil. So the pictures were of my prop shaft insert all melted, and, my lower unit, the main seal of the lower unit all melted. And then when we pulled the lower unit off, the exhaust boot and the water pump and everything are melted from the heat. So, yeah, it was pretty bad.
Wow, if there was ever a day for it to be yours, that was the day.
Well, I've owned this boat for 13, 14 years. Everybody calls it Zero Cool. The boat is probably more popular than I am at the circuits. Everybody loves it. I've let a few people borrow it, and they say, how the hell do you drive this thing? The boat is set to go faster than it was designed to do, because I'm a speed freak. Everybody says, why do you want a 93 mile an hour boat? Because he's got a 91 mile an hour boat. That's why I want it. And I love the speed. I come from a racing background. I raced stock cars for years before I got into fishing. And, everybody's like, they've seen this boat come back on 5 cylinders. They've seen it come back with parts missing. They see me. I came back one year just coming up to the check-in boat on full tilt boogie when the motor exploded and pieces came out of the cowling. They've seen me come back with this boat, just smoke pouring out of it. It's had 8 or 9 different engines on it over the years. I'm not nice to them. It's a tool. It's designed to go fast. I will push it right to the absolute ragged edge every time and beyond. So yeah, for me, it's just the way I am. I have no slowdown. If I'm in 8 inches of water, I'm doing 90. I don't, if I hit a stump, oh well, I break something, I'll fix it.
Now your boat actually goes 90?
This one doesn't. This is my Stratus. I had an Allison that would do well over 90 before this one actually got asked to not bring it back to the FLW circuit. Because it technically wasn't a bass boat. It was a speed boat that I had carpeted. The hood. I just threw carpet over the hood and said, hey, it's a bass boat now. This one here, with a 2 1/4 on it that I'm running right now, I can push her up around 78 mile an hour by myself. If I strip her down and if I'm really going to make a long run and I really want to go fast, I can get it up to 81.
Holy
it's
man.
Moving.
But now I finally went through all the stuff to get it re-rated for a 250. So the next motor is going on, there's going to be a 250, and we figure she'll be pushing mid 90s. I've also been talking with another boat manufacturer that they just came out. They're a new manufacturer. I went down to Arizona to drive their boat.
Wow.
We went down there with a 22.5-foot boat set up completely wrong as far as jack plate and prop pitch and all that. Nothing like what it should have been. We were pushing 94 mile an hour with a 22.5-foot boat.
With a 250?
With a 250, yep. Now they just talked to him here a week ago. They're coming out with a 20-footer that's over 200 pounds lighter than a 22.5-foot that's 250 rated. So I'm kind of interested. They're building the first one right now. I want to get in that and see where we go with it.
Jeez.
Yeah.
That's hauling, man.
Good thing GoPros are riding in boats for
That's
Wisco
hauling.
instead of cameraman.
That's hauling, dude.
I did 80 in that, who was that, Greg's boat?
Yeah, Allison, yeah.
Yeah, and that was fun. But it was such a smooth ride, though. You couldn't.
That's what you said. You were really impressed.
Those big cargo seats on that thing.
Well, see, that's the difference between Greg's boat and my boat. I've got a Stratus ASX, which was, when these boats were designed, they were designed with a 2 1/4. They were designed to run 65 to 67 mile an hour. So I'm pushing this one, 10, 15 mile an hour faster than what it was designed to do. So when my boat gets up, there's pictures on the internet of it. There's nothing touching the water, and the boat wobbles all over the place.
Oh.
It's actually a pretty scary ride. I've actually, in this boat here about 5-6 years ago, I had a co-angler that drew me in a BFL. And he came up and he went up to the tournament director and he says, I will drop out. There is no way in hell I'm getting in a boat with Daryl. And, I always had it as the wild man of the circuit. So cool enough, there was a guy about I swear he was about 90 years old. And he said, I'll jump in with him. Just switch us. So they switched to co-anglers. That old guy won the tournament out of the back of my boat.
I think it sounds like we got to put a GoPro in your boat all year next year, just in case we catch something.
Yeah.
Well, it wouldn't be the first time I've had one upside down. I flipped an Allison on the Mississippi River. Flipped my Allison pre-fishing for a tournament. I hit a barge wake a little wrong, and actually was looking down at one of them big pleasure boats that they rent with a top deck. Yep. I was actually looking down at the people. That's how high in the air I was. And I figured it was going to come down motor first, so my plan was to throw it in reverse, and then when the motor hit the water, nail the throttle and walk the boat backwards so it would land upright. And, somewhere in the midst of stuff falling out of the boat hitting me, I didn't get it in reverse. It was still in first or in forward. So I hit the water, I stabbed the throttle and walked the back of the boat right underneath the front and landed on my lid.
Wow. Well, then.
Yeah, I love it. Your mom's on there right now,
Yeah,
Brian. She says many wives are at home saying, "Oh, are you kidding me?"
Yeah, I know what she's referring to too. I've had a couple of never upside down in boats, but I've had a few experiences.
Yeah, I've been thrown out of them. I got thrown out of one up on Lake Onalaska. Hit a wave wrong. That's the problem with my boat I have now. Somebody throws a rock in the water in front of me. We're going airborne, and I got thrown out of it a couple of years ago. I think it was 2 years ago in the 10K. We were making a run from Prairie du Chien all the way up to La Crosse, and I hit a wake and it came down sideways. The boat wasn't acting right, but you're in tournament opening morning run. You ain't got time. You got people to pass. You got to go. And we got all the way up to where we were fishing, and we probably ran 20, 25 miles with it like this. We got up. My partner that was fishing with me jumped on the back deck, and he says, "Hey, that don't look right." I said, "What don't look right?" And I turned, and my power poles were sitting at a 45-degree angle, and I realized I broke 3 of the bolts that hold them. I had 1 bolt holding the motor on the boat. Got where we were going. And he says, "How are we going to deal with this?" And I said, "Well, I'm going to call a friend and have him run down to a hardware store and get me some bolts." That was actually Cody Shaw that did it. And he came back. We just fished with it, leaking water until he got there. And then Cody ran out with some bolts. And me, Cody, and my partner, we lifted the motor back in place, threw some bolts in it, and made a run home.
Jeez.
Holy man.
That's crazy.
I get Brian's mom is like, in cat lives, how many lives do you have left?
I ran out a long time ago.
Playing with house money now.
Yeah, I've been in so many big accidents, not just in boats. I've got a crazy streak in me. It's never gone away. I've had it since I've been a speed freak since as long as I can remember. My dad raced stock cars, and I raced them for years, and I've been in so many wrecks that it just doesn't even faze me anymore. It's you get out and you're like, oh, well, wrecked another one.
Right.
Off you go, move on.
Now, are you running the same boat again next year?
Unless I get my deal worked out by my new one, I will be running the old Zero Cool again next year.
Modern day Ricky Bobby here, Daryl.
Right, I guess. Holy cow.
Just want to go fast.
That's crazy.
Yeah, it's just the speed is never, I've never found anything, motorcycles, boats. I love going fast, and it's never fast enough. It's just, if you can get me going 300 miles an hour, if there's somebody around that's going 301, I got to go 3-2. It's just the way it is.
Unreal.
Well, cool, man. I think we're going to kind of let you get back to, hanging out with your Monday. We do appreciate you. What's that?
I was going to say, do you have any sponsors you want to thank or anything before we cut you loose?
Yeah, my big sponsors are Skinner Transfer. Is where I work. They're actually giving me use of the computer and everything today to do this interview. Like to thank them. They help me out with time off and, the available time and all that I need. Andy Hauser and the boys at Team Marine Service, they've seen everything I can throw at them, and fixed it and fixed it quickly. I've had days where I come in after a tournament at 5 o'clock at night and I got to be back on the water at 6 o'clock in the morning, and they basically got to change everything on the boat that I screwed up in a day, and they always are there to get the people back on the water. Great place. Love them to death. And then Kariji Baits, that was one of their local bait company in La Crosse. That was one of their chatter baits I was throwing. And then Lethal Weapon Lures, who's getting bigger and bigger, but they're out of La Crosse too. And all the people that not just help me that are awesome, but all the people that put on the events. I spend a lot of time going to different things, standing out in front of Walmarts, promoting fishing, going, I probably do 15 to 20 sports shows this winter for different sponsors, Boeing Lures. I'll do a couple for them. And I love spending time with the kids and getting them into fishing. And, it's the next generation's what you got to think about. We're already here. We're already doing it. And the people that support us on a tournament level are, just amazing to me. I never had been in the real shot in my life until that Big Green tournament. And then we were up at the next tournament, and we actually drove from Green Bay. Yeah, we drove from Green Bay all the way down to the real shot to get some baits for the next day. So, everything you guys do is much appreciated with me.
Oh, thank you. Thank you very much.
Well, cool.
Awesome. Well, I really appreciate it, man. Congratulations on your W. It's awesome. Looking forward to following you a little bit next year.
Yeah, if you can keep up.
Thanks a lot, Daryl.
Awesome,
Have a
man.
great
Thank
rest
you.
of your Monday.
You too, guys. Thank you.
See you,
All right,
man.
see ya.
Bye.
That was awesome.
Yeah.
Jesus. I mean, I used to really like going fast. Like, I used to like it, but now I don't know. Kids and stuff, I've slowed down a lot. Obviously, Daryl hasn't.
Yeah. he's still running around regular. What? So David Vang is on here.
I don't
He
know,
said,
was it a Stratus? I
think he said it was a Stratus.
Yep.
Yeah. Nice Stratus. Well, you did a great job, Daryl. Daryl's an awesome fisherman. Again, a guy who just loves promoting the sport of fishing and bass fishing alone. Does a phenomenal job.
Well, and I think that's what I learned with the bass guys and the Wisco guys in general was how much they really want to promote the sport, make the sport grow, continue it to grow.
Yep.
And we've talked a lot about how big bass fishing's gotten. We talked about this morning in our management meeting about how big bass has gotten in Wisconsin over the last 9 years.
Yep.
To where when we first started, the real shot, we were 90% walleye, and now it's like 70% bass. It's just gotten that much bigger, and not that walleye isn't big, it's just bass is just exploding. I don't know if it's just the tournament circuits, if it's just our involvement in it, if it's when bass came to Green Bay and 9 years ago, whenever, 7 years ago, whatever. It's just getting bigger and bigger. I mean, I was even saying like a circuit like Wisco 10 years ago would have 5, 8, 10, 12 boats. Now they're going to be pushing 70, 75 next year. It's just crazy.
Well, I think Daryl hit it on the head too with the coverage of it all.
I think
Not
so.
only just the coverage from us, and all these other ones, but it's like it's mainstream. I mean, you can go right on the internet and watch a lot of bass fishing events where you can't watch as many of the other things, and we're going to hopefully try to change that here in the 2020
we're looking at doing
season.
head-to-head for walleye next year. We're still talking about rules and how that looks and what that would entail to give that a shot for next year. I think it's something I want to try to see how it goes.
Yep.
I think there's a lot of guys that are interested in it. But it's like I said, it's a different game. We had a lot of conversation about that during the two head-to-head weekends about, this rule and that rule and how this converts over to bass or walleye or whatever. And we've even talked about doing salmon and trout, like Great Lake stuff.
Yep.
And I just think it's all different. I think that the bass thing's got to have its own environment, its own set of rules, its own set of criteria, its own everything. Walleye's going to have its own thing. And none of it's good or bad. It's just all different. I think that's fine. It's just the way it is.
Yeah, and we like to try to do as much different things here as we possibly can. So nothing's out of the realm. Obviously, when you're working with Brian Keller, I mean, everything's a possibility, which is awesome for us because it doesn't make the job boring at all ever.
We try. I don't believe in the box. Let's just put it that way.
Right?
Everybody else likes to stay in the box. And then everyone's always like, think outside of the box. I don't even know what the damn box is anymore.
I think for a while there, I wanted that to be our slogan for the real shot was think outside of the box. I mean, because that's what we do. And I mean, with the mentality around here.
I'm so far out of the box. It's not, I don't even know. Like I said, I've always said that. It's always, think outside the box. Like, where's the box? Like,
right.
What? I don't believe in the box.
Let's not, yeah.
Anyway.
Well, speaking of that, we're going to kind of wrap up today's episode. Thanks, everybody, for joining us. I know Brian's got a little mini getaway to get to.
Yep.
So good for him. Just to kind of recap again what we talked about in the very beginning for those who maybe didn't catch it is a lot of sales going on in the store. Obviously, there's archery sales, there's clothing sales, there's rebates, all that kind of cool
awesome
stuff.
Used firearms.
Oh yeah, phenomenal. Not even used, just new and used firearms. So we should hopefully have a lot of things you're looking for.
What's that whole pallet of stuff that Nick just brought out? Do you have any idea what that is?
Looks like more ice fishing stuff.
Just a whole pallet he just wheeled out on the floor.
Yeah. I mean, there is so much ice product arriving daily. It's insanity. I mean, you start looking back there and you're like, holy man, where can we put it all? It's crazy how much. I mean,
Justin finds a way.
There's augers out here. I mean, there's shacks out here. Again, just like we talked about with suits, now we have otter this year.
It's an entire pallet full of ice combos.
Yeah.
That's what it is.
There's otter, there's clam, there's Eskimo again in stock. I mean, the augers are starting to trickle out. Clothing, suits, all that kind of stuff. There are some hunting apparel sales going on right now. Wish we could talk about certain ones, but you have to come in the store and find those out, what the awesome sales are. Footwear, bows, all that kind of great stuff. Don't forget we have our pumpkin carving contest going on. That's all on our social media page. The one last thing I wanted to hit on too is don't forget our Black Friday sales. Those are obviously a little ways away, but not that far away.
Yeah, Josh, we can sell guns to people who live in Illinois. You just need to find. I don't think I can say that on air.
The friendly Illinois.
Yeah, those guys. But
Friendly
anyway, all we
Illinois
need
guys.
you need an FFL dealer in your area that we can ship the guns to.
Yes.
So if you see a used
Or just
gun,
come here to the real shop.
or just stop in next time you're out fishing.
Steve
But
or
if
Mark
you
will
see
take care
a
of you.
used gun online that you like, we can definitely ship it to you. It just has to go to an FFL dealer in your area.
Yep.
And we do that all the time.
Yeah, for sure. Mark and Steve.
Sorry, I
The
didn't
easy-
mean to interrupt.
No. That's the easiest way to handle that is to call, though. Call the
Yeah,
store.
absolutely, yep.
I mean, a lot of people message us on Facebook, and I ended up just kind of directing them. I want to answer the questions the best way
Now
we can.
the
or Zach.
new website we talked about earlier, it
Gonna have
will
it.
allow to sell these guns online and ship them.
Yep. That's the one
part of it.
reason we decided to do a new
Big part
website
of it,
was
yep.
for firearm sales.
Correct.
So that's for sure. So again, Black Friday, we're trying to amp that one up, get people excited about that one. My goal is I think we had 10, 12 people standing outside the door this year. We want to double, triple, quadruple that. So
Which one is it? Double, triple, or quadruple?
It's all of the above.
You can't have
just
a
add,
double.
just
You
add
gotta
them all
quintuple.
up. Add them all up.
We've got to go back to like goal making 101.
Well, we just want to have, so, obviously we're going to have some awesome sales for that weekend. That's a Friday through Saturday weekend, and then we have Cyber Monday, but we're going to do some amazing giveaways.
Right, yep, for sure.
So we're going to give away a
It
couple
was. I'm not
guns.
gonna lie. It's pretty cool to have 20 people standing out front of the door.
Yeah,
waiting for it to
we've
open.
never had that
That's
before.
kind of cool. It's like having your groupies, but
Right.
not really.
So we're going to do a couple of firearm giveaways. We're doing a really big ice package giveaway that's going to include a suit, a locator, a camera, some other miscellaneous stuff. There's an archery package giveaway. So that is the weekends for that. We'll start doing more advertising as we get the details hammered out. But that's the 29th through the 1st, and then Cyber Monday is December 2nd, which is crazy that we're already talking
Yeah,
about.
it's just nuts.
We're not even into November, and we're already talking about December.
I
So
know, right?
Cool.
Happens fast though, man. It happens fast.
True story. Well, all right, Brian, let's wrap this one up.
All right,
Thanks,
sounds
everybody
good.
that joined us. Thanks, Daryl. Congratulations again on your Wisco Invitational win. And we'll talk to everybody. Well, you're not here next week, but Zach and I might bring up something.
You should.
So have a great week, or rest of the
I'm
week.
here on Monday.
I thought you were gone yet Monday.
No, I'm back on Sunday. I'll be here.
Oh, okay.
Just be more tan.
All right. Thanks a lot, everybody. Have a great rest of your day.